found out on the way here is that the first thing I wanted to do was be a rapper.
Really?
Yeah, except I don't know how to rap.
Welcome to the No Name Technology Podcast, coming to you from La Console in Quebec City. I'm Adam Pawliwec here on behalf of Pipemind Technology, and I'm thrilled to introduce you our very first guest, Lin Sok. A force in the world of finance and entrepreneurship, Lin has been featured in both the Globe and Mail and Global News for an incredible story from her early life as an immigrating to Canada to becoming a leading voice in financial empowerment. She's a multi-year finalist at the Wealth Professional Awards for her work in financial literacy and advising, and the founder of not one but three impactful ventures. Her most recent venture, which is how I met Lin, is Owni.ai, a proptech startup set to reshape the home buying experience. More on that in a minute. But first, Lin, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
I'm great. I sound really impressive, so I hope I live up to the hype that you read.
My research says you are very much a very impressive person. So, yeah, you traveled here today from Montreal?
Yes.
Here in beautiful Quebec City?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank goodness. It's beautiful outside. Last time I was here, it was snowy and gray.
That was yesterday. We keep being tricked. It's supposed to be spring. It's not spring. Winter one day, spring the next.
It's Quebec weather.
Yeah. So how have things been since we last spoke? Last time we saw each other was in person, at least, was at the Google startup in Montreal. And since then, you've been really busy working on a book, working hard at Owni.ai. How have things been?
Busy. Things have been busy, but the last few weeks have been everything has come together. I have my book launch and the MVP launch on Sunday, and it's just been kind of like I've had to pinch myself. I work. I'm just a workaholic, so
I'm the same.
I'm constantly working. But when you see everything just unfolding, like, oh, the book is edited. Oh, we sent it to the printer. Oh, the MVP is here. I've had those moments.
Yeah, you get to just constantly chip away at all your projects, and the next thing you know, you're starting a new project.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm an author. I'm a real tech founder.
Yeah. What's the book about?
So the book is called The Audacity to Own It, and it's basically the blueprint of how to navigate life using emotional detachment.
Okay.
So one of the questions I'm always asked almost on a daily basis is, how do I do everything? So you recited all the things that I've done and I've been working on. So, and I'm a mother of 4. How do I manage everything? And it's how. And how is through emotional detachment. On the way here, we're in the car just talking about boundaries and saying no, unapologetically saying no.
Right.
And knowing when to stop. And I have zero problems doing that, which may seem cold to some people, but at the end of the day, I have to take care of myself.
No, I agree with that. My a good friend of mine, used to, I think, just setting boundaries, and like then people know they have expectations about you and they know how to work within those expectations.
Exactly.
I think that's like super important. But separating yourself from emotion, what do you mean by that? Because I'm curious, because I feel the same to some, if I think I know what you're saying, where I see emotion often as potentially a distraction to where I want to go, where some people may see that as cold, as like you just said. But like, is that what you mean? Or
it's all of that. So when I say emotional detachment, it could be both negative and positive. It could be basically, we all want to be wherever we want to be in life, like just in casual conversation. What do you want to do? Well, what's stopping you from doing it? And it doesn't have to be a big grandiose plan. It doesn't have to be, oh, I want to be a multimillionaire. It could be something as simple as, I've been invited to a family gathering and I really don't want to go because I know my mother-in-law hates me.
Right.
So it's that and everything in between. So how do you make that decision and set that boundary without having those emotions behind it? Like, and what's the emotions behind saying no to a family gathering? There's guilt. What will people say? Will people be talking about me? These are all the emotions that come up that stop us from setting that boundary. So, and how you do, I've learned a long time ago that how you do one thing is how you do everything. So something as small as the family gathering, the friend's birthday on Friday that you don't want to go to for whatever reason, learning how to say no. It's okay to say no, and you have to set those boundaries because otherwise you're just going to
Spread yourself too thin and nothing gets done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And isn't that everyone's complaint? I'm so busy. I have so much to do.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
You don't have to do everything.
You don't.
Keep it simple.
Exactly.
I like it.
Exactly.
And so I guess bringing back to when we met at Google, serendipitously, at the getting water outside the event, and then we sat there and chatted, and I remember my first impression was, first I was curious to meet you, as I usually am with people, and then I noticed you were like, oh, if they let me speak, I'll go present Owni. And then that's when I was first introduced to you. I was like, this woman's she's fearless.
Yeah.
So how does that help you in your career? I feel like it's helped tremendously.
I completely forgot about that. I thought we were just at the water cooler at Founders Friday. You just have one life to live. And honestly, for me, I've never been in the corporate world. I was a young mom, so there wasn't much that was expected of me. So as the years went on, as my kids got older, as my career progressed, I don't have any fear. So I kind of went back to that childlike fearlessness that we have when we're kids.
Yeah.
When we're kids, we don't care.
That's what I want. I'll go for it.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if we feared as children, we would never learn how to walk. We wouldn't learn how to ride a bike, swim, all those things that you learn as kids. And then as you go through school, life goes on. Because of what you experience in life, you start setting up those boundaries and you start getting scared. You don't want to try new things. Then you progress into adulthood and forget it. Whatever it is that you're supposed to be is what you are. And any sort of change comes with a little bit of backlash, and you don't want to move forward. So one of my superpowers, or unfair advantages, as they like to say, is that I'm not scared, because what's the worst that could happen? And something that drives me is I watch other people, extremely successful people, from a distance. I'm not someone who idolizes anybody in particular, but for me, if they could do it, why can't I? And
I have that.
Yeah, I don't sit there and complain.
You're a human. I'm a human. If you did it.
Exactly. What's so different?
Yeah.
The only difference is they're doing it. I'm not.
They figured it out. They spent some more time on it. And
Exactly.
That's how it is.
Exactly.
So I'm guessing that's how that helped you transition into Owni.ai, which is going from financial advisory, insurance, brokerage, all that, into the tech world, which there's a lot of similarities, because business is business. You're generating revenue, you're getting eyeballs, you're creating value. How's that journey been? It's
been a journey. So one of the I've been in business most of my adult life. So I'm not new to the business world. I'm very new to the tech world. So one thing that I had to learn is what's so different about tech. And I couldn't get it. I think maybe
what was it?
I'm still trying to figure that out, but that's okay. It'll come out. But one thing that I've noticed in the tech sector is that a lot of founders are technically inclined. So they're software developers, engineers, but they don't have the business side. Whereas I'm the exact opposite. I am not a tech person. I might talk a good talk, but I'm not a tech person. That's why I surround myself with good people with
knowing your limits.
Exactly. But I'm very business oriented. And for me, it's all about ROI. It's how do we generate that revenue? What do we need to invest? And what's the timeline on how we're going to make that money back? And this is not just for myself, it's for investors, it's for people who follow me. Technology is all about innovation, and let's face it, there isn't much that's innovative out there. Everything's a little bit of a twist on something, on an existing idea. And I knew that I had to do it. So the reason why I came up with Owni.ai is because I saw a need. And
what was that need?
That need was because I have a background as a mortgage broker.
Right.
I saw that, everybody talks about the high cost of housing and how buying a home is unaffordable and high interest rates not at the beginning of COVID, but when government started raising interest rates. So interest rates, high cost of housing, but the thing that nobody talks about is the demographic changing, which is more and more people are single.
Right.
And when you're a single person with a single income,
right,
it reduces your buying power.
It's not like it was
no
30 years ago where
or even
you could buy like a decent sized house for $100,000. Now it's like that same house is $800.
Exactly.
And now you have someone still not getting the increase in wage at work. And you're like,
Exactly. So it's all the other reasons. So you brought up the point, a house used to be $100,000. It was $100,000 and probably on one income, but back then people didn't have debt like they have today.
Right.
That's the other.
Whereas like now it's like, hey, get this credit card, get these points. It's like, there's that, and there's let's leverage this, let's leverage that.
Like I just heard this week that Klarna, which is one of those.
What, sorry?
Klarna is a payment processing system where you could pay over time for anything.
Okay.
Instead of paying everything in one shot. Like I happen to know that Michael Kors offers this as an option. So if you want to purchase something on Michael Kors' website, you could, instead of paying the bill off in one shot, you pay it off in installments. So I heard this week that Uber Eats is introducing that option. And
there's an interest associated with it. It's
exactly.
Basically, businesses are becoming their own banks or Visa companies.
Exactly. So to that point, there's the demographic is changing. People are either choosing to stay single and not, going the family route with kids as what was traditionally known. People have higher amounts of debt, so they can't qualify for a decent sized home. And as a mortgage broker, it was hard to tell somebody who works hard, they make the $60,000 to $80,000 a year. They have a 5% down payment. It's hard to tell them, hey, all you could afford is a $250,000 condo. Where are you going to find that?
It's changed now. Like people's perspective of like where they should be is different than when I grew up. Like I grew up and I remember like my parents had their parents' couch for like ever.
Yes.
And my dad could easily buy a new couch but never did. Whereas now it's like I know people who just bought a house and the whole house brand new, refurnished, everything you could possibly imagine. So people are just spending way more, and their idea of like finance and what that actually is and what is like the time value of money is like totally foreign.
It is.
Which I know you do a lot of education in that with it's Women's Money
Montreal. That's
right. And so you're basically coming full circle, which education and empowering individuals with financial literacy, you help people actually deal with finances, and now you have Owni.ai. Do you see that as like an overall strategy in your business?
1,000%. It's
everything leverages one another and builds on itself.
I didn't just wake up one morning and say this is the thing. It all fits because my mission is to be that problem solver. What's the problem? And for me, it's about generating wealth. So what are the barriers? What's stopping people from doing the thing? Well, when it comes to home buying, what's stopping people is the fact that they can't qualify for a mortgage. And even if you do, can you actually afford those mortgage payments?
Oh, people are so leveraged.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And like you said, you don't just buy the house or buy the condo. You buy it and then you need new furniture.
Yeah. I bought my first house 1.5 years ago. And it was
Did you buy new furniture?
Yeah. And I didn't know that houses don't come with fridges and ovens. And I was like, you gotta buy that too?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, throw that in the budget.
Exactly. And while you're at it, you might as well buy a new bedroom set and whatever else you need. That's what it is. Instead of, like you were saying with your parents, having the same couch for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
Maybe with the plastic still on it.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah, fortunately I lived in Whistler long enough where you learn to save money pretty good because it's not a place where you consume a lot.
Yeah.
And it's just that type of market. So you learn to live frugally. So like compared to like even my brother's house, it's like beautiful, like everything's really nice, everything's done. And then I'm like, you should get a chair over there. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to buy a chair there.
Yeah. I'm frugal like that.
Yeah.
I could
Reinvest it.
reinvest. You know what? I've been around so much money. Stuff doesn't impress me anymore. It really
It
doesn't.
doesn't add that much value to your life.
It really
These
doesn't.
inanimate objects. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great. So I guess throughout your career, you've had a lot of obstacles to overcome to get where you are.
Mhm.
When we met, you were just starting Owni.ai.
Mhm.
I mentioned to you that I was an AI consultant. We connected on LinkedIn. We touched base and interacted a little bit because I know you're quite active on social media. And then you messaged me out of the blue asking, "Are you an AI consultant?" And I was like, "Well, yes, I am. Like, how can I help?" And you were recommended to speak with someone with more technical expertise than yourself as you went on this proptech venture,
Yes.
Owni.ai. In that process, what made you, in the end, work with us to help build your MVP, which you're going to be launching soon? And what kind of things did you learn along the way when hiring a consultant or getting someone with technical expertise to integrate into your business and your dream?
Well, what I really liked was that, so at the time, I was speaking to a couple of other software developers, and it was kind of the same process. This is what I want to build. Here's the invoice. And as someone who is not technically inclined, I don't know if this is a good price. I don't
Right.
even know what's included. So what I really liked with you guys is that we kind of positioned the marketing to go along with the growth of the app.
Yeah.
So when I started out, I thought all I really had to do was go on one of these online platforms and build an app.
Right.
Which I came to learn.
You're like, oh, it's not that customizable.
No, and it's not scalable
Right.
to the level I want to take it.
Yeah.
And kind of learning things along the way. And again, meeting with other software developers, it was just, this is the invoice. Here are the details. Give us a deposit.
Right.
But I really didn't feel like there was a journey or any support. Could I have asked? Of course I could have asked, but I'm a very busy person.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to ask if I don't
You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. So what I really liked with my experience is that I remember, I don't know if it was you or Olivier who had said, let's start with the MVP. And that way, because I'm so focused on community building, I have a community already, I have a following, I have a social media presence. Why don't we start with the MVP, but use that so that people could chronicle your journey and you could get the feedback from your community
100%.
and actually build something that your users would like.
Yeah.
I could think this is the best idea in the world, but if you don't have any users, what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a process. I think well, we like to take at least, because even when we're not working with startups and we're working with enterprise businesses, it's like you still don't know what you don't know. Like, I don't know everything about every market. I don't know every intricate detail of every business process or value chain. And technology changes so quickly. It's like, well, are you building it so that you can scale with your actual business and where your business objectives are going? And are you building the right tool? So by starting with that MVP, and then I think first we actually worked on the UI UX to make sure that this is what you wanted it to look like and feel, and how did you think users would interact with it? So yeah, I think it's just the smarter way, and you spend less time and less money in the long run.
Exactly, because what's the point of investing so much money in a platform only to find out that this is not what users want?
You don't need this feature that costs $10,000 to $20,000. It's like you thought you did, but you didn't. No one requested that, so why'd you build it, kind of thing.
Exactly. And for me, who really believes in branding and storytelling, it's part of it.
Well, you're great at it.
I try. I was told this is the way of the future, so I went with it. When other people tell me this is how you do things, you kind of watch from the background, and if they're doing it and it works, might as well imitate. And so I've watched many, business owners build their entire brand on storytelling. And again, it goes back to, why do you do what you do? Well, if this is all I have to do, tell a few stories, appear on camera, write a few posts about how I feel, Why not? This is simple. When I started out in finance, I used to cold call people. That's hard.
To this day, I've done that once or twice for a couple jobs. And to this day, if someone cold calls me, if I'm not in a bad mood, I won't answer. But if I'm in a good mood, I will answer just to give them a little wind in the sail. Because I know all day they're just doing this, like morally beating.
It is.
Because it is a hey, how's it going? Why are you calling me?
Exactly. But it
builds character.
If I had to do it, if I had no other choice, I would do it all over again. If it meant me reaching that goal, it's not the end of the world. But luckily, I don't have to.
You're not doing it for fun on the weekends. What do? I just cold call people.
No. But luckily, I don't have to do it anymore. And, I've replaced it with storytelling and social media presence. But if I had to, I mean, at the end of the day, what am I really doing?
Yeah.
Just develop some thick skin, hear a lot of no's, but you never know when you'll hear a yes.
That's true. You're aiming for the no's, and then you get used to the no's. Then every once in a while, you get surprised with yes. And you're like, sick.
And don't take it personally.
Yeah.
I mean, when we expand our marketing for Owni, there are going to be comments online. Why would anybody use this app and all kinds of things? You can't take that stuff personally.
No, I mean, if there's objective truth to it, you can take it and leverage that truth and integrate it into your business and pivot if you need be. Otherwise, keep on keeping on.
Exactly.
So you have the book coming out. You have Owni launching soon. What's next in the pipeline? What's the plan for the next couple weeks?
Gosh, let me think a second. So I have my launch that's coming up in a few days. And then the following week, I'm in Toronto for the Canadian FinTech Summit. I'm pitching on stage there. So I was one of the lucky people too.
Exciting. Congrats.
Yes. I actually, right after we're done this, I have to submit my presentation.
Oh, yeah?
I have a deadline. I just remembered, so thanks for reminding me. Then at the end of that same week, I'm in Halifax. I'll be speaking at a women's event. It's a tech founder out there. I've come to learn that in the Atlantic provinces, the tech community is very close-knit. Everybody knows everything.
Similar to Quebec and the Maritimes. They're very nurturing areas.
So someone who I met at Startup Fest last year, also in front of the water cooler, like getting water. I don't know. It's a thing with me with water coolers. But she was the last person that I met before leaving for that day. And now I'm speaking at her event, and I'm going to talk about the book and the app, but also that disconnect. So something that I've seen in my journey is that a lot of tech founders, because they don't have a business background, they don't know how to manage their finances. So that's what I'll be speaking about, that disconnect. And, she brought up a point. She said she has a startup as well. It's been a few years she's had it. And she said, if someone wrote me a check tomorrow for $250,000, I wouldn't know what to do with it.
Right.
And you should. Should. But I find in some of these cohorts and these boot camps, they focus a lot on raising capital. Yes. But then what do you do with the capital once you've raised it?
And I mean, so on the side, I work with a company called Halo Health, where we do due diligence for angel investors to invest in biotech and health tech companies. And like knowing how much money you need is huge. Like never ask, you don't want to ask for too much.
Exactly.
Because that's like, well, now you're just showing me that you don't know what you're doing or where you're going or what you're spending money on. So like you have to start with a business plan, an idea and an objective, and then work backwards. You have to reverse engineer that to be like, can we do this? Do we have the capabilities to do that? So like,
exactly.
Yeah, I understand exactly. Like I speak to people all the time and I'm like, I grew up in a house of like people in medicine, and then I love finance, so I know those two subjects quite well, but it always baffles me when I speak to people and on those two subjects I'm like, oh, you what, like what's your thought on that? I'm like, that's way off.
Exactly. And
so it's great that you're talking to these people, because everyone needs that. People don't know what they don't know.
Exactly. And that's my strong point when I do attend like these events, when I'm in these cohorts. That's my strength, the business side. And I also leverage that as part of my branding, reach out if you have any questions, and we always tag each other on social media. It's a way for me to increase my network as well. But I just can't believe that there's such a disconnect in these programs. And the person that I was speaking about in Halifax, she's been attending these events for 5 years. And she said, she said to me in a 30-minute conversation with her, she learned more about finance and just managing business finances than she has the last 5 years. And there's something wrong with that. Why is that? I'm a naturally curious person.
Yeah.
So I'm investigating as to why it's like that, because it doesn't make sense. But then again, there's always follow the money. Maybe it's done on purpose. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're on to something with the curiosity. Like, I'm also curious, so I learn from speaking with people mostly. Like, I'll do a lot of research myself because I like to know things, but like just speaking, and I think just some people don't have that, and then some people just live in their bubble.
That's true.
I think the majority of people just live in their day-to-day life. People have children, and it's like, money isn't my thing, and that's what I'm going to do. And then it's like 20 years down the road, you think back on, you're like, I should have known, but it was like, you were doing something else.
Exactly.
So it's not the end all be all, but I think it's definitely helpful to know that. For sure.
Exactly.
So the book coming out, you have an event on Sunday launching the book. Yes.
We had pre-orders, so
Uh-huh.
I had, thank goodness I have a great community that we had a lot of people who pre-ordered the book. So that's what I'll be doing on Saturday, signing those books for Sunday. And then the official book will be available on Amazon April 1st or before, depending on when we get approval. So I'm excited about that. And I'm using that as a tool, because after the launch in Montreal, I'll be in Toronto, I'll be in Halifax, Calgary, back to Montreal, Toronto twice. I'm using the book as leverage, as a marketing tool, because the name of the book is The Audacity to Own It. So yes, it's about owning your life and making decisions, but literally owning it as in, I want to purchase this house. I want to be a home buyer. I want to live that dream.
Fully committing to those objectives.
Exactly. So what's the solution to the problem? And that's my whole thought process. What's the problem? What's the situation? What do I need to do to solve this? Or what do I need to do to overcome this? Because sometimes there is no solution.
Right.
But you still need to move on with life.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to just be like, pivot, keep going, and go on.
Exactly.
So you got that coming up soon. And then also you have people can pre-sign up for Owni.ai, I believe, as well.
Exactly.
At Owni.ai. And I guess final words. What do you want to share with people? Where can people find you? What's your message for people to learn and be inspired and move on and achieve their goals?
So you could find me very easily online. I'm active on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. What all this is about, the finance, the financial literacy, the app. It's not just about the app. It's not just about being a financial advisor. There's more to it. So as we all know, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. And a lot of people are questioning leadership, both in governments, in corporations. And it's the same story all over and over again. What I don't get is why, power works in numbers. And let's face it, there's the 1%, but then there's the 99% of us. I've said this before. I said it, I'll say it again. I just did a panel on Sunday, and I said it at the panel. If collectively the 99% of us had 10% of the audacity that some of the leaders have, imagine how different this world would be. Imagine how our own little world, our own little bubble would be. We just have to believe in ourselves. And that's the issue that we're having. We're letting that 1% make all the decisions, all because the rest of us collectively are just, letting time pass. There's always something else to do. I'm a person, I don't have time to complain. I'm here on a mission. I'm that problem solver. And I just hope that at least, 1 or 2% of the people who are watching believe that as well. And that's the only way that we're going to fix things in the future. All the society's problems are fixable but we need more people. We need money. We need more people, more money, more people generating wealth in order to make that happen. No matter what anybody says, you need money to change the world.
Oh,
you,
I agree.
you can have the greatest heart, but if you don't have money backing you, it's going to be very hard to scale.
I agree. Well, on that, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
I'm Adam Pawliwec from Pipemind Technology. You can find us on LinkedIn, and look out for Lin's Owni.ai and her book, The Audacity
to Own It.
to Own It. Alrighty, thank you. That went better than I thought.
That was not 2 hours.
No, how long was it?
Half hour.
Half hour? Oh, it seemed like a while. Was that okay?
Yeah, that's
First one. Peace off. Oh, okay, keep going. Keep going. I'm happy I did that.
Oh, it helps. Research helps.
Just say I was also like, because I'm constantly doing the due diligence and every day. Well, I'm wearing so many hats myself as well. It's like